to deal with
Right,
that such a short form
right.
way of doing it. Like, I don't care how fucking intelligent you are, like, to get used to a completely new format like that and attempt to deliver something concise, it takes a bit of
Oh
learning.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. I think the point is the gates of the gatekeeping are coming down when Richard Hart is going on to Fox Business for like 4 or 5 minutes, talking about how the crypto market's fucked, and yet Hex could be the answer. But yeah, okay, yeah, there's questions about is Hex a scam? No, Richard Hart is not a scam. He's called the top, and he'll call the bottom. And look out for this guy. It's a complete win.
Well, for me, what interests me, and I don't pay enough attention to it, but what happens in, like, for instance, Twitter, etc. What is the response? Is it silence over that? Probably, probably. Or is it criticism, etc.? Most of the criticism I've seen has come from within the community. Um, obviously bear market, wanting the thing to launch, all the rest of it. But I haven't seen a great deal of anything from anyone else. But then I don't follow it closely. And that silence says a lot.
What do you mean silence? Silence from who?
The silence from these quote unquote haters that love to shit on him all the time. I've not,
Oh, well,
again,
they've
I
got
don't look at
nothing.
it really closely, but I've not seen a massive amount of response from those people to that interview.
No, they're all jealous as fuck. Like, which other founder is getting on Fox Business News right now? And who is even going to poke their head up above any like crypto uh, uh, line to even go there? Like, only Richard Hart is like putting himself out there. Only him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Total boss move. And you know what? The best thing about what he did today was the fact that whoever that Fox panelist guy was, that was like, hey, we're inviting some people on. His Twitter feed today has completely blown up, and Fox Business would be like, our Twitter's gone insane today. And you know why? It's because Richard Hart came on your show for 3 minutes today, and they'll be like, who the fuck is this guy that can command so much response, interaction, retweets, comments, hearts, all the rest of it? And that's what Richard's all about. As soon as you bring him into your sphere and you suddenly see what the hexagons and pulsicans and all of the people in his sphere can do, you're going to be like, this guy's got something. Who is this guy? That's what he's got. And his social media reaction to just being on their show today, I wouldn't be surprised if there's people in the back who were like, wait a minute, we were streaming today at whatever it was, 2:35 p.m. EST, and all of a sudden, we spiked. Everything's spiking. Who is this guy? That's what Richard's going to do.
Agreed.
People are watching numbers, tweets, retweets, views, all of the above, the social media bubble shit. And Richard's going to fucking blow everybody else out of the water. As soon as you bring him anywhere near your orbit, things are going to go ballistic. And that's what he's doing. And that's what we're all about. And we need to keep doing it because, because we know what's going on.
Well, I never checked Twitter, but I was watching the whole thing live, like, for like 10 minutes prior to the interview. And just before it came on, before he hit the break, he's like, I'm going to have Richard Hart on. He's like, tweet me what questions you want me to ask him, is what he said. I would love to have seen what that guy's Twitter feed looked like. And he clearly didn't give a fuck about any of the questions because he already had questions to ask, which was Oh, so everyone says you're a scammer.
Yeah, bullshit questions, absolute fucking farce of an interview, of course. But that's not the point. Point is, he's going to come out going, wait a minute, I've never had more feedback to any question I've ever asked of any audience before. And that just happened. And, he's been fed questions and he has to ask certain questions. But Richard handled himself well. And, think good things are going to come from that. No question.
Yeah, he definitely handled himself well, and then he came in with the boss move right at the end, which I was smiling about.
What, the 11K?
Yeah, just when the guy was ending the interview and he interrupted him and said, you do know that I called the top on the day, right?
Yeah. And he was like, oh, did you? He's like, yeah, I did. And it's going to be 11K at the bottom.
Yeah, and the guy's like, well, what happened was that then sowed the seed where the guy responded with a smart ass question. He's like, well, what I want you to do is call the bottom. And then
So
what Richard
I
said
already
was,
have.
yeah, no, what he said, no, that even funnier is what he said is, well, when it gets to 11K, I'll let you know because it could go deeper.
Yeah. Okay. That is genius.
Yeah, it was a fucking boss move, man.
Okay. And so
Like
when it
when you
does,
understand psychology and conversation, the way that he saw the guy just try to shut it down at that point, but then he interrupted that cycle with that question and then ended it his way. It was fucking beautiful. Like not many people can do that to guys on that level, and he did. So that was admirable.
so now we all really want it to get down to 11K and below, and the Fox Newsman going, hey, by the way, this man actually really did call the top and the bottom.
Yeah, and by all accounts, that's exactly what's going to happen. The funny thing is, and I'm not an expert, but I listen to people that are very knowledgeable on the subject, and all the conversation with the legacy market people prior to that, when they're talking about 75 points and blah blah blah, I've heard all of that in other groups, and it marries up exactly with what Richard is saying about the 11K thing. So it's quite funny. He talked all that shit with all the guests before, and then it was just like didn't matter when he was speaking to Richard. It was like, so I heard you're a scammer. Fuck off. He wasn't interested in talking about the crypto market in the slightest. He
It
even
was kind
admitted
of
at the start of the call.
it was outrageous, totally outrageous. But Richard handled it so well. And basically, if I was a viewer, I'd be like, wait a minute, who is this guy that called the top and is now calling 11K? If it gets to 11K, I want to follow this person. That's basically the win there.
Yep, that's why it was a fucking boss move the way he ended the interview on his
Yeah,
terms.
yeah. And that whole fucking thing about like whatever the $500 scam thing, like he just made them look ridiculous to be talking about that. Like he explained it so well. It was embarrassing for the network.
Agreed, yeah, I agree. It's like, what? Talking about this shit from 20 years ago that wasn't even worth my time dealing with.
I mean, as far as like, I remember, you know, and we still are like complaining, and quite rightfully so, about being gatekept. But today, Richard Hart was on, you know, Fox Business News, and did a great job, and basically came out looking like he knows exactly what the fuck he's talking about, and is, uh, you know, educating people, and has a solid platform token coin. Uh, and you know, we were like, when are the gates going to be brought down? It's like today is another step of the gates being brought down, where Richard Hart is on Fox Business, uh, you know, and shilling Hex, like absolutely wonderful.
Yep, he did do a great job in the time frame that he had. There's refinements to be made, but he definitely hit some of the points, like especially when it comes to environment and stuff like that. Like hitting those points is a key thing on a platform like that. No, he did really well. He can do better in the future, but he did fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah, of course he can, and yes, that will happen. But the point is, he's got a platform. He was invited on there. He had, you know, he was an interesting guest. You know, pointed out that he called the top, and maybe he's going to have called the bottom. They'll come back, but just getting on there for the first time is a huge thing. And I think the interview went really well. And he handled the questions about being a scam artist, whatever. But the fact that he was on there, like insane, he'll be invited back. He did a great job. He said the word crap. Don't know how bad that was or not, but whatever.
Yeah, and the thing is, as well, is people don't understand. Well, a lot of people probably don't want to admit why he is on there, and that is because with his marketing, he's been steering hard into the mainstream narrative, which is negative, which is why they've picked him up. Like, the dude's not fucking stupid. Like, what he's been doing has got him on that platform. You know, it's like, so you might not like what he's doing marketing wise right now, but it got him on that platform, and it's going to promote the product and make things better for, especially us that are involved early on, which is what this
Yeah,
is.
yeah. You could almost argue that Fox and Co are going to need to get this like scam bullshit stuff out of the way first, until they start actually promoting and putting them in a good light, if you know what I mean. It's like, you know, they need to vent all of this stuff all of this FUD that we've lived through. Like, it's almost like a natural procession of like Richard Hart, yeah, he's dodgy. Oh no, he's not, it's a genius. It's almost like a procession. I'm seeing it like that.
Well, yeah, it's just the cycle of things right now. Like, it's you want to shit on crypto, shit on crypto, shit on crypto, and then bring your better version of it and push it out to the masses. And that's where mass adoption will happen. And then, those small pockets like ourselves will be able to profit better within and around that system.
At least he's shaved, huh?
Do the funny thing is, it's one of the first things I thought. I was like, God damn, he must have fresh shaved. His face was even looking a bit red from shaving.
He did good. He did really good today.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. He did the absolute best with what he had to deal with. and finished it off with a fucking boss move.
I mean, he definitely talks some stuff that, like, I mean, we understand what the fuck he's talking about. Most people watching Fox Business News would be like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, serial numbers loosely related to JPEGs that may be hosted on the internet or not. Like, we got it, and maybe he went a bit deep there, but I just like the idea that Fox are reaching out to Richard, and he's basically said on TV, online, he called the top, he's probably going to call the bottom, and and that he's somebody that's worthwhile talking to, and he didn't come across, and he explained himself as simply not a scammer, and he made a coin that went from 0 to 10,000x, and is going to do it again. Yeah, it's a win. It's a complete win.
Yeah, it was a good thing. Overall, a very good thing.
Imagine like 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, early days of Hex, and you'd be like, yeah, in 2 years' time, Richard Hart is going to be on Fox Business, talking about Hex. You'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And now it's happening. The gates are coming down. That's the thing. The gates are coming down. Like, there's so many streams and networks and people that are talking about Richard Hart. Richard Hart behind Hex, behind Pulse, behind PulseX. It's just it's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle that he's now getting into this sphere of like mainstream media, mainstream conversation, and all of these like BitBoy or whoever, like they're all aware of Richard Hart, and that is basically pumping Hex, Pulse, PulseX, Richard Hart's ecosystem. It's just a wonderful thing. And no matter how he's doing it and how it's done, it's happening. And nobody can complain about that.
Well, they can, and that's their prerogative, but I choose not to live that way. People get real emotional in the bear market.
Emotional times.
Well, one thing you'll learn one way or the other in cryptocurrency. Well, I mean, that's my only kind of investment experience is that emotions will get you wrecked real quick.
I kind of feel like this community, the Hex community or whatever, like it's the most amazing tool to teach you to get through the bear market. I've never known anything like it. I've been through a couple, and the APY and Hex and the staking and etc. And through Richard and the community, it's best education ever that anybody could ever expect or hope for through a bear market. It's almost enjoyable. Like if you're staked through the average of like what 6.5 years or something, and you believe in crypto, Hex teaches you that bear markets are good. They're actually a good thing. As long as you can withstand it and you understand that bear markets are going to happen, you are going to live through multiple ones of these. Hex is the best coin in the world to be involved in.
Well, the market, it kind of reflects life. It's ebbs and flows, and you have to be able to deal with both in the correct way. But there's just a lot of people that are just in it for what they thought was free money. But one thing life teaches you, there is no such thing as free money, boys and girls. No such thing. Anyway, I'm going to check out for now. I'm going to do a bit of study and then go to sleep.
Good night, mate.
A pleasure talking as always, guys. Have a good one.
Nice one, mate. Not sure if anybody's got any questions or thoughts about Hex or Pulse or PulseX out there. If you do, feel free to ask.